What's up, everybody? It's Alan's Movie Talk, back at it again. With it being October 31st and Halloween, I figured this would be the perfect time to talk about the films that I saw in the month of October and rank them from worst to best. This month, I only really got to see four new movies. It's been a busy month for me. So the count of this ranking is not going to be very high. These are the four films that I saw, so let's talk about them. Coming in at number four is going to be the only movie on this list that I genuinely think is terrible and is the frontrunner for my worst film of the year, Joker Folie à Deux. This movie, obviously, was the follow up to the 2019 Joker film that had a lot of critical and audience praise. Joaquin Phoenix won Best Actor for the film. It was nominated for a bunch of other stuff as well. And I just felt like this film was a slap in the face to everybody who liked that original film. It explored a lot of the same ideas, but it did it in a much worse manner. The musical aspect of the film really made no sense, added nothing of value to the film, and overall, it just felt like it was the most pointless sequel that we've ever gotten. Anyone who knows and followed the story of how this film was made, it was very difficult to get both Todd Phillips and Joaquin Phoenix to return for this film. And you could just see that throughout the entire film. This one is the first film that I saw in the month of October. And I feel like the more time that I've had to sit on it and think about it, I've liked it even less. And what's made it even more annoying about this film is that you have a plethora of people online and on Twitter who, typical liked this film and they go, oh, well, you just didn't understand it. No, I understood it. A lot of other people understood it. We just didn't like it. It's not a good movie. And we can all disagree, and I understand that there are going to be some people who like it, but that doesn't mean that I didn't understand it. This movie was not too smart for its own good where it was going to go over other people's heads. Again, it tackles a lot of the same things that the first film did, but just does it in a much worse way. I don't want to rant about this film too long. I don't, like I said, don't like it. My front runner for worst film of the year. So Joker Folie à Deux comes in at last for the month of October. Coming in at number three is going to be Venom: The Last Dance. This movie, I didn't hate it. I had some fun with it. The relationship between Eddie and Venom, was just as good as it's always been. But it was just like mediocre, and I just didn't care at the point. I talked about it in my full review, where I felt like the dirtbag move that Sony made with the post credit scene in Venom 2 teasing that he was going to cross over into the MCU, finally meet or fight Spider Man. And then the essential undoing of that at the end of Spider Man No Way Home just really left a bad taste in my mouth, and made it hard for me to enjoy this film. And then, on top of that, like I said, my excitement was already down. I felt like, too, that this film just had the worst story out of the trilogy, and to me, felt like, as on a film level, it was just chopped to pieces. Had the most redone in the editing room, and just I just felt like it was overall the worst experience I had with the three films in this trilogy, and that's saying a lot considering my expectations were much lower going into this one than they were for the first two films. Venom: The Last Dance is the third, pretty much the worst movie of the month of October. And then just a disclosure, number two is going to be Terrifier 3 for me. But just a disclosure, there is a significant jump up from 3 to 2 in these rankings. These top two movies, I absolutely love them and had so much fun with them. Coming in at number two is going to be Terrifier 3. I actually watched this movie for the second time last night, so it's fresh in my mind. And, this movie just took everything that I loved about Terrifier 2, streamlined it, and made it the most whole experience as a movie that we got out of the Terrifier franchise. Yes, I think that the high moments of Terrifier 2 do exceed the high moments of Terrifier 3, but the overall consistent experience that you get in Terrifier 3 Uh, it was just a blast. I had so much fun with it. The story that they told, with Sienna dealing with her trauma from part two, I felt was done much better. The kills in this movie are incredible. Yes, I don't think anything is going to top the bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, but it's more consistently throughout this film. The shower scene is the one that comes the closest to that bedroom scene in Terrifier 2, but this one had more quantity when it came to the kills, and every single kill scene that you get in this film felt like its own set piece. I felt like this was the best performance that we got from David Howard Thornton as Art the Clown. I mean, genuinely, he's terrifying in this film, but he also has hilarious moments. I mean, even last night rewatching the film, the scene where he meets Santa, the scene where he is listening in on the conversation of the two college kids, I can't remember their names, in Jonathan's dorm room, hilarious. He just has moments like that sprinkled throughout, and I felt like his performance in this film is the most comfortable he's ever felt in this role. And yeah, so overall, as a movie, I felt like you felt the budget increase. You felt everything about, like, it just felt like Damien Leone was at his prime with the franchise, with this film. The only thing that holds it back, I think, from being the number one spot for me, is where the film ends. It does leave on a bit of a cliffhanger. So, I felt like, even though the finale of this film is, awesome and has a great action scene and, cranks up the violence towards the end, and you get into the more mythical and fantastical elements of it, I do feel where it leaves it off with it being a cliffhanger, felt a little bit like, okay, like it wasn't a fulfilling ending, I felt like, compared to what the rest of the film gave us. So yeah, that is why it comes in at number two. But again, I love this film. I love this series. I'm so excited to see where they go with Terrifier 4. So Terrifier 3 comes in at number two for October. This is Smile 2. Right now, this is the front runner for my most surprising film of the year. Like I said in my full review, I did like the first one, but I wasn't overly over the top on how much I loved it, like some people were. I felt like the core elements that they got in that first film, the scares, the way they built up tension, the dynamic of the characters, I felt like that worked. But it just felt like in that first film that something was missing. And this film takes everything that that first film does and just elevates it to another level. The scares, like I said, with the way they build up tension, the storytelling, the script, the main lead, Naomi Scott, who plays Sky Riley, everything to me was taken up to another level in this film. And it's kind of funny that I rank, these two films for the month of October where I did, because it kind of feels like there is some similarities in what Damien Leone did with Terrifier and what Parker Finn has done with Smile, where, yeah, obviously Parker Finn had a little bit more of a budget and everything, but, they both started out in these universes with short films, then eventually were able to get a feature film. And for both of them, I felt like the feature film was kind of like the prototype and the proof of concept, but didn't have all the ideas and the confidence in which both of them had with these franchises. And then part two, just like for Terrifier and Smile, is kind of where the concepts, and as a director writer, Parker Finn fully excelled and brought his best work forward. And I find that so interesting that they both feel, in that case, right, very similar, even though the movies are very different. It kind of just feels like a very similar path. And then I talked about it just a bit ago. Naomi Scott as Sky Riley, you know, I know horror doesn't get recognized, but she absolutely is worthy of a Best Actress nomination from this film. She's just incredible. The depth that she has as this character. This is a very broken character. This is someone who's dealing with being a pop star while also being a very emotionally broken person. The expectations that come with that. And the way the demon manipulates those situations in the film. I felt like that's really what worked about this film, is that the situations that our lead character in this film finds herself in compared to the one from the first one are just kind of night and day differences, and Parker Finn does a great job at playing with those differences. to, create very creepy and unnerving situations that she finds herself in. But her performance was just incredible. She should get recognition. I don't think she will, but just because of how awards look at, the awards people look at horror as a whole. But she should get recognition for it. And then, since I saw this film, I've seen it twice now. The songs that they put out, for Sky Riley, I've actually been listening to on repeat. So I think they should get some original song recognition, for some of her songs in the film. But yeah, this is my number one of the month for October, and like I said, it is my front runner right now for the most surprising film that I've seen this year, because my expectations just were not that high going into this film, and I felt like they far exceeded them. So Smile 2 comes in at number one for the month of October. All right, guys. Well, comment below. Let me know what you think about my ranking here. Like I said, I didn't get to see a lot of movies this month. If there are any movies that you guys did see that I didn't talk about here that you would recommend, let me know. If you want to see my full reviews for any of these four films, they're on my page. So yeah, comment below, let me know, and have a great day. And happy Halloween to all the horror and Halloween fanatics out there. Bye bye.